Okay, here we go. So we are at the top of Ayin Dalid Amud Bet, 84b. At the
74.
top. 74b, thank you. At the top, 74b. So let's just recap the Mishnah, where we have three opinions in a case of Yibum, bringing us back to Yavamot. We have a lady who's Shomeret Yavam, her husband passed away. She's waiting to do Yibum with the husband's brother. And now the question is, can this guy mefer nedara? Can he do hafara for her neder? She makes a neder. She doesn't want to eat meat anymore. And does he have the ability to get rid of her neder or not? So a three-way machloket. Rabbi Eliezer says yes. Even if there are two brothers that potentially could marry this lady, either one can get rid of the neder. Rabbi Yeshua says it works if there's one, but not if there's two. Rabbi Akiva says even if there's one, it does not work. So that is the three-way machloket. Now, so that's again Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara starts at the top of the page. Tanan, I'm a Rabbi Eliezer. So says Rabbi Eliezer, we're going to quote the Mishnah that he says like this. His logic to why both could do hafar nedarim. Uma im isha shekana leatzmo harehu mefer nedareha. Just like a person who acquires a wife, he could do hafar nedarim to her. Isha shiknu lo min hashamayim enodin shemefer nedareha. If a case where they gave you this wife mina shamayim because the brother died and now you have a connection with this lady mina shamayim, for sure you have the ability to get rid of her neder. Hashem gave it to you. Of course, even the first case Hashem gives it to you, but you did something about it. You actually did kiddushin to that lady. Here Hashem gave you this lady, so it should for sure be have her nedarim. So the Gemara asks on Rabbi Eliezer, David, I was wondering who the mystery person is. Okay, so we'll just bring you up to speed. So basically, I'm sure you've heard of Yibum in the Torah. Yibum, it's if a man and wife are married and unfortunately the husband passes away and they have no children. So the wife, there's a connection now, this lady and this man's brothers. So they either have to get married. One of the brothers have to marry her, it's yibum, or chalitza, is to break the yibum, or with the shoe and spinning and everything, right? So now, if let's say, in the stage of shomeret yavam, she's waiting to do yibum. She's waiting to do yibum. At this stage, now she makes a neder. I don't want to eat meat anymore. Generally, when she's married and she makes a neder, the husband could get rid of the neder, hafara neder, within 24 hours. The question is, in a case of shomeret yavam, can the potential yavam get rid of the neder or not? So we have three machloket. Rabbi Eliezer says yes, even if there's two brothers, three brothers that could try to marry her, either one of them could get rid of her neder. There's still a connection already. Rabbi Yeshua says only if there's one yavam, not if there is more than one yavam. Rabbi Akiva says nothing. Okay, so that is what we left off from last time, and then we're starting here, and Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara says his reasoning, which we also saw last time, and his reasoning is that if you go and do kiddushin to a lady and marry a lady, now you get rid of her nedarim. Kol sheken, all the more so if Hashem gave you this lady, because the husband died. That was your brother that died, and now you have a connection to her. So for sure, Hashem gives us everything. But here it's like I didn't go out and find this girl and build a relationship with her, and then I asked her to marry her. That's my doing. Here it's like my brother died, and now I'm connected to her. So if Hashem gave you this one, for sure you could get rid of her neder. That's the logic. Now, we did say that on Rabbi Eliezer's explanation. Yesterday, we said that there was a question on this because Rabbi Eliezer is of the opinion of en brera. En brera means because let's say there's two brothers, so we don't know who the one is going to be. Only one could actually marry her. So therefore, it's really only one that could get rid of the neder. And we also saw in the pasuk, Isha yafera Isha yekimena. It's the husband, Isha, Ish shela, her husband could get rid of the neder. Her husband could make him the neder, could uphold the neder. So there's only one husband though. So we said earlier that no, the case is that the case of Rabbi Eliezer is that the guy did ma'amar. Ma'amar is he did kiddushin to his yevama, which kiddushin doesn't work fully, but it's another step closer. So when this brother dies, and now she's a yevama, and the yavam, to make it work, there's no chuppah, there's no giving of the ring. It's just, I don't know if there's witnesses or not, but he witnesses that they go into a secluded room, but he has biyah with her, they're together, and that's it. That's how it's locked in. So no, I think he just continues from his brothers. We had I'm sure the discussions about that. So
if the brother takes over for the other brother deceased, you don't have to pay out the ketubah.
So she gets the ketubah from the dead husband.
She does get the money.
A new ketubah now on this new husband? I don't remember. She's gonna get paid twice.
But no, but my question is, if the brother takes
the money comes from the first husband.
She still gets it, even though the brother's gonna marry her.
I think so. I don't think she gets twice though. I don't think she gets twice. And the question is, does she get now? Does she get later when the second guy dies?
I think she'd get it later because
she's still continuing on. Yeah. But definitely the money comes from the dead husband. Uh-huh. So now, like this, the way that they unify is that he consummates the yavama. But if, let's say, he gives her a ring and says haret mekudeshet, and he does like a kiddushin, that's what's called ma'amar. Ma'amar to your yavama. That is another step closer than the other brothers. Now, technically, one of the other brothers could still go and get her, and that's it, lock her in like that. But ma'amar is something, especially we saw according to Bet Shammai. So basically, Rabbi Eliezer is saying, no, the case is, even though en brera, meaning we don't know which one it's going to be. So Rabbi Eliezer, how can you say both of them could get rid of the neder? This is no, because one of them did ma'amar. It's really closer. So now the Gemara asks on that. Hold on a second. If you did ma'amar, third line down, v'i b'she'asa ba'ma'amar kana le'atzmohu. So the Gemara asks a question and says, hold on a second. You, Rabbi Eliezer, your whole logic, what are you standing on that this husband could get rid of the neder? You're standing on, well, Hashem gave you the wife. Hold on a second, but if now you're explaining your case, that you did ma'amar, and that's the case, then you also invested over here. You also gave her a ring. You also did something. So it's not just from Hashem. So it kind of knocks your feet out, everything that you're standing on. Answers the Gemara, shekana le'atzmo al yedei shamayim, that you acquired her, it was through Shamayim, meaning, yes, it was Mina Shamayim, and you also did a little bit. We could still say that's Mina Shamayim, meaning it's not a full case when a guy meets a wife, he meets her and dates her, this, that. Of course, everything's Mina Shamayim, but that's Mamash Atzmo. I did everything. Here, it came Mina Shamayim. This was my brother's wife. And boom, it came to me. And okay, I did something, I did Ma'amar, but it's really still Shamayim. Okay. Now the Gemara says as follows, 5 lines down. Tifshot, from the following we could answer, we could be poshet, we could answer the following. Debayi Rabbah, a question of Rabbah. Ma'amar lebet Shammai. This concept of Ma'amar, according to Bet Shammai, which we saw Bet Shammai says it's like you fully got her when you do Ma'amar. Irusin osa or nisuin osa? Is it irusin or nisuin? Is it really, really full, that like nisuin, like full marriage, or is it irusin, like the first step of marriage? Tifshot, we could prove from here, the nisuin osa, that it's actually nisuin. It's actually mamash full marriage, according to Bet Shammai, which is a big chidush because you didn't actually have biyah with her, you didn't have relations with her. Yet he's saying all the guy did was ma'amar, and that's considered full marriage. Says the Gemara, how can we prove this? The irusin osa, because if you're saying ma'amar is irusin, is the first step of marriage. Hatanan, we learned in the Mishnah, nara me'orasa, avia uba'ala merfiri nedarea. We learned that a lady that's a me'orasa, she's in the first step of marriage, her husband and her father and her husband get rid of the neder. We need both of them to agree to get rid of the neder. But Amar of Yitzchak, Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak. Sorry. So the proof is me'orasa. That's where the husband and father get rid of the neder. But here in our case, we've been talking the whole time, and let's say in our Mishnah, yafer, that just the yavam could get rid of the neder. So you see over here that yavam alone could get rid of the neder. That's like a case of nisua. When a husband gets rid of the neder alone, he's fully married to her. It's a nisua case. And this is the Gemara, and this is what we pointed out yesterday from what Zev asked, and we saw it in the Ran.
This is Nara, by the way.
What?
This is Nara Meorasa. So,
Not a Bulgarian.
Yeah, I think the Mishnah is dealing with
A Bulgarian.
Bulgarian.
But the thing is, Na'ara me'orasa, if a Na'ara is Nisua, the father doesn't have any more hold over her.
Yeah, but a Bulgarian there's no recites, only the husband.
It's only,
Oh, no.
it's none of them. She's a Bulgarian.
Yeah.
Right. So Na'ara has both. But a Na'ara that is fully Nisua, that's only the husband. So the Gemara wants to bring a proof like this. Na'ara me'orasa, we know father and husband get rid of her neder. But in our Mishnah, when we say that the Yavam can get rid of the neder, it must be that the Yavam has a connection to her through Ma'amar, like a Nisua, because only he could get rid of the neder. Answers the Gemara, Amar Nachman bar Yitzchak, my Yafer. What does it mean when we said in the Mishnah Yafer that he gets rid of the neder? Yafer b'shutfut, he gets rid of it in conjunction with the father, as a partner with the father. Meaning, that's what Zev asked yesterday. We saw it in the Ran that when it says in our Mishnah, this three-way machloket, does the Yavam get rid of the neder or not? Rabbi Eliezer says yes. Yeshua says only if it's one Yavam. Rabbi Akiva says no. The question is, hold on a second, is that the Yavam alone or the Yavam with the father? And from here we see it's the Yavam together with the father. In the case of course, a Na'ara. So it's not a proof that that Ma'amar is Nisuin. It's not a proof. Gemara continues. Tanya Namihachi. We have a Braita. Oh, sorry. That's the end of that piece. Okay. Now, Gemara says. Let's take a look over here. Okay. So the Gemara says, Tanya Namihachi ki Rabbi Ami. We're bringing a Braita like Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami was the one that said that the case is that you did Ma'amar. Meaning, what the Gemara is trying to do now is as follows. We said Rabbi Eliezer's opinion that if there are, even if there's two Yavams, the case here is one did Ma'amar, and that's the one that we're talking about that did the Hafara Nedarim. But the question is, where do you see that? Like, can you just like make it up? Oh no, the case is Ma'amar. Is there a way to see that in our case itself, that we're talking about the case of Ma'amar? So the Gemara says there is a Braita that could prove that Rabbi Ami's law in Rabbi Eliezer, the case is a case where that guy did Ma'amar. There's a Braita to prove him, to back him up. And the Braita is very similar to our Mishnah, but there's some differences. And of course, in classic Gemara fashion, the Gemara brings down the entire Braita. And the Braita goes as follows. Shomer Yavam. It's very similar to our Mishnah. This is a Tosefta. Toseftas are Tanaic works, and they are often similar to Mishnayot with some variances, and that's what we're going to be seeing here. Shomer Yavam. This is basically similar to our Mishnah. Ben Yavam Echad, Ben Shnei Yavamin. Shomer Yavam, be it if there's one Yavam, or be it if there's two Yavamim. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Yafer. Same as our Mishnah so far. Rabbi Yeshua Omer le'echad v'lo l'shnayim. Same as our Mishnah. Rabbi Yeshua says only if there's one yavam, not if there's two. Rabbi Akiva Omer lo le'echad v'lo l'shnayim. Rabbi Akiva says not to one, not to two. The yavam cannot do afar nedarim. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, says Rabbi Eliezer, Uma im isha she'en lo chelek ba ad shetavo lirshuto. Just like a woman, this is a little bit different now from our Mishnah. We'll see there's some similar parts. But then we're going to prove from here that the case is a case of ma'amar. Let's see. Uma im isha she'en lo chelek ba. Just like a woman, he has no connection to her ad shelo tavo lirshuto until she comes into his jurisdiction. Mishibat lirshuto, and when she comes into his jurisdiction, nigmiralo. She finishes him being he could finish off the nether. He could get rid of the nether. Isha sheyesh lo chelek ad shelo tavo lirshuto. But a woman. So again, umayim isha she'en lo chelek ba ad shelo tavo lirshuto. A woman that you don't have any connection to, like a random woman, she can't get rid of her nedarim until she comes to your rishut. Mishivat lirshuto nigmaralo. Isha sheyesh lo chelek. Let's say a woman that you already have a connection to. Is talking about a yevama, that the brother died, and that's your sister-in-law. But the brother, now there's a case of yibum. You already have a chelek, you have a connection. Ad shelo tavo lirshuto. Before she came into your reshut, you had a connection to her. Mishibat lirshuto. Once she comes into your reshut, eno din shetigmorlo. Isn't it obvious that you could finish and you could get rid of her neder? So this is similar to the logic. Rabbi Eliezer's logic before was it's minas shamayim. Here in the Tosefta, the logic is that you already had a connection to her before. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva argues on Rabbi Eliezer and he says, "Lo, no. Im amart beisha shekanahu le'atzmo." When talking about a woman that you went out and acquired on your own, shekashem she'en lo chelek ba, kach en la'acherim chelek ba. Just like you have no connection to her because you're not fully married to her yet, this is a irusin. Kach en la'acherim chelek ba, but nobody else could get her either, because when a lady is in arusa, you've already done the first step of marriage, and the first step of marriage means that if you want to break that connection, you need a get. Nobody else could get her, but you also can't live with her until you're actually married with nisuin. As we said many times, back in the day it was 12 months between irus and nisuin. Nowadays we do everything under the chuppah. That's why we have 2 kiddushes. Okay, so says Rabbi Akiva, he argues on Rabbi Eliezer, and he says, look, if you're talking about a woman that you go and acquire, just like you have no connection to her, you have no peace in her, even after Irusin, so to other people don't have any chelek. Nobody, she's not single anymore. No one else could get her. Tomar be'isha sheiknulo min hashamayim. But then say about the woman that Hashem gave you min hashamayim, the sister-in-law, the husband died, your brother died, and now you have a connection to her. Shekashem sheyesh lo ima chelek. You have a connection to her. But kach yesh la'acherim chelek ba. But others also have a connection to her, which is other brothers. So it's not fully yours. The one that you have a connection, now you have a connection to her. Fine, she's new. Meaning Rabbi Eliezer's whole thing was, in this Tosefta, is she's not new. She was connected to you before. She's your sister-in-law. She's connected to you before. The moment the brother died, there's a connection there. So Rabbi Akiva says, no, that's showing that's a bad proof, because if you want to say there's a connection, there's a connection to you, and there's no connection to you in a regular woman, and so to other people don't have a connection. In the Yevamah, you have a connection to her. That's nice. You have a connection, but she also has a connection to other brothers, so she's not fully yours. That's how he knocks out Rabbi Eliezer. But Amar Rabbi Yeshua says to Rabbi Akiva, Akiva, your word, Akiva, Devarecha b'shnei yavmin. Your words are with shtei yavamin. Your words are with two yavamas, two ladies. Mata meshiv al yavam echad. What are you going to answer when it comes to one yavam? Meaning, Rabbi Akiva, you said back to Rabbi Eliezer that you know why your logic is flawed, because fine, the girl came in Hashemayim, Chazaku Baruch, but you are not the only one that have a connection to her. Others also, your other brothers. Says Rabbi Yeshua, that's nice if there's other brothers, but if you're the only one, it's just you. And Rabbi Yeshua is trying to back himself up, because Rabbi Yeshua said, if there's one, it works. If there's more than one, it doesn't work. Says Rabbi Akiva, Amar le, Klum chilaknu al yavam echad ve'al shnei yavamim. I did not differentiate between one yavam and two yavamim. Ben she'asa ba'ma'amar, ben she'lo asa ba'ma'amar. Be it if he did ma'amar, be it if he didn't do ma'amar, there's no difference. Ukeshar dvarim ken nedarim. And just like other things, so too nedarim. Meaning, just like in other things, you did not fully marry this lady. You're not fully married to her. Even if you did ma'amar, even if you're a yavam, you did not fully marry her. So too in nedarim, you cannot get rid of her neder yet. So, what we see over here, number one, I was going to point this out. So this is the end of the Tosefta. Similar to our Mishnah, few variances. And one of the variances is a proof to our case. Why are we bringing this whole thing down? We said, Tanya Namiachi, we have a Braita like Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami says the case of Rabbi Eliezer is a case of Ma'amar. Where do we see that in this Braita? Because right at the tail end, Rabbi Akiva says, no, my statement is, be it if there's one Yavam, be it if there's two Yavamim, they can't get rid of the neder. Be it if he did Ma'amar, be it if he didn't do Ma'amar, then you can't get rid of the neder. Oh, you see, so Rabbi Akiva throws in there that even if we're talking about Ma'amar, so Rabbi Ami had a source to establish Rabbi Eliezer's case of Ma'amar from the Tosefta. Says the Gemara, Belashon hazeh Amar ben Azai. In this fashion, in these words, Ben Azai said, Chaval alecha ben Azai. He was talking about himself. Chaval on you, Ben Azai. Shelo shimashtet Rabbi Akiva. You didn't learn from Rabbi Akiva more. You should have learned from Rabbi Akiva more. Meaning, Ben Azai was so inspired by these words of Rabbi Akiva. He said, whoa, I should have learned more from my Rabbi Akiva. So now the Gemara says, my Tanya kavatid Rabbi Ami. Let's go to the next page. What is Tanya kavatid Rabbi Ami? What is the Braita? So from where in the Braita do we see the proof? We brought this whole Braita like Rabbi Ami. And I spoke out one of the two things. We brought it the whole Braita. So now the Gemara says, okay, so show me, where is it? Where is the Braita's proof like Rabbi Ami that we're talking about Kisam Ma'amar? Says the Gemara, Diktani, because it says there, Ben Sha'asa B'Ma'amar, or Ben Shelo Asa B'Ma'amar. When Rabbi Akiva said this case, I don't care, no one, you can't get rid of the Nedarim, be it if you did Ma'amar, be it if you didn't do Ma'amar. So you see from there, we could establish a case of Ma'amar. Iname, another way, another proof that we could show from the Braita that it could be talking about a case of Ma'amar is Miresha, from the beginning of the Braita, from the beginning of the Tosefta. Diktani, Mishinechnisa lirshuto nigmerado. When she comes into his reshut, then he can get rid of her nedarim. Ve'i de lo kadish, my nigmerado. If he didn't do kiddushin to her, meaning ma'amar is the kiddushin of Yevama, if he didn't do ma'amar, my nigmerado, how could he get rid of the neder? Tifshot mineh kishe'asa ma'amar. We could learn from here that he did ma'amar. So Gemara wants to bring a second proof from the Tosefta, from the Reisha, that when it says, when she comes into his reshut nigmeralo, he could get rid of her neder. When she comes into his reshut, Gemara says, as an assumption, it seems like it's a strong assumption that mishibat lirshuto. If you take a look at the Ran on this page, on Hamud Aleph, the third line down from the top, mishibat lirshuto, hainu mishikadsha. The wording of when she comes into his reshut generally means when he does kiddushin. So kiddushin by yibum is ma'amar. So that's another proof that we're talking about ma'amar over here. And that's the Gemara says. Let's read it again. Second line down the Gemara. Iname meresha dektani mishinechnesa lishuto nigmeralo. At the beginning of the Tosefta that says when she enters his reshut, that's when he can get rid of the neder. V'idelo kadish ma nigmeralo. If he didn't do kiddushin, if he didn't do ma'amar, how could he finish her neder off? Tifshot mineh k'shesab ma'amar. Learn from here that it's talking about a case that he did ma'amar. So now the Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva, in his last part of his statement, said like this. Rabbi Akiva says, I don't care if there's one Yavam, if there's two Yavams, they did Ma'amar, they didn't do Ma'amar. That case of Yavam and a Yavama, the Yavam cannot get rid of the Neder, he can't get rid of the Neder, just like Shar Dvarim, just like other things. They're not fully married, so to Nedarim, he can't get rid of it. Says the Gemara, my ukishar dvarim, ken nedarim. What are these other things? And so too nedarim. Diktani, that was said. Says the Gemara, Amarava, hachiktani. This is what it means to say. Iyatam modeh she'en chayavin skila kenahara meorasa. You have to agree that there's no chiyuv skila like by a nahara meorasa. So chiyuv skila is stoning, meaning like this. We said that when a man marries a lady and he does irusin to her, they're already in the first stage of marriage. If they want to break up that marriage, if they want to break up that level, it's a get. Therefore, if chas v'shalom a man sleeps with that lady, then it's skila. A random man, it's skila. It's death penalty. It's cheating. But a shomeret yavam is not. It's so therefore kishar dvarim. So if a lady's waiting to do yibum and then another guy goes with her, the connection between the yavama and the yavam is not strong enough, like irusin, that it's going to now cause that guy's going to have death penalty. It's a big avera, not death penalty, and therefore says the Rabbi Akiva, just like in other things, you see that yavama is less than a mamash an irusin case. It's just like there, so too when it comes for nedarim. Amar Rav Ashi, back to the Gemara, says Rav Ashi, Matnitin namidika. From our Mishnah, we could also medayek and bring out like these words of Rava to explain Rabbi Akiva. Amar Rav Ashi, Matnitin namidika. Why? En yevama gemura leisha keshem she'arusa gemura leisha. If you look at the Mishnah that we did yesterday, turn the page back one page, and if you go to the end part of the Mishnah, it says, go to the end part of the Mishnah, Amar le Rabbi Yoshua Akiva, Tevarecha b'shnei yevamim, mata meshiva yavam echad, Amar lo, last words of the Mishnah. He tells them, Ena yevama gemura leyavam, kashem she'arusa gemura leisha. A man, a yavam and yevama is not gamur, is not close, is not finished like an arusa to her husband. Arusa to her husband is closer than a yavam and yevama. And therefore says Rav Ashi, that we just said in the Mishnah is in line with these words of Rava. It says just like a husband and wife, it's on a higher level, and arusa is on a higher level than a yavam and yavama. And that's in line with the words of the Tosefta over here, that just like in other things there's differences between husband, in other things there are differences between a yavam and yavama, so too in Nedarim. Rav Ashi says you could infer that from our Mishnah as well, that there's a difference between a yavam and yavama and arus and arusa, which is on a stronger level. Okay, we're gonna let you guys out early today. But basically, the Ran, if you want to take a look quickly at the middle-sized lines of the Ran on Ayin Hey Amud Aleph. First word on the line is Keshem. It says the middle-sized lines, 2 lines up. Keshem she'arusa gemura leisha, de'arusa b'skila im zinta. The Ran just tells us a lady that's an arusa, if chas v'shalom she is mezana, if she cheats, the punishment is skila. And the Ran says, u'le'inyan halacha, Halacha, who do we go like? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, or Rabbi Akiva? Kind of like Rabbi Akiva. We posek like Rabbi Akiva. Ne'eno mefer, lo le'echad, ve'lo le'shnayim. There's no hafarat nedarim, not to one or not to two. To neither, there's no hafarat nedarim. A yavam cannot do hafarat nedarim to either of them. He brings down the Ramban that also goes that way. And yeah, one of the other points here in this run is because also Ben Azai, the Gemara brings down Ben Azai. Like the Gemara doesn't say something for nothing. Like, why does it bring down Ben Azai? Oh, Chaval, I didn't learn from Rabbi Akiva. That's just another proof that Rabbi Akiva in this case is the halachas like him. That's also one of the things that the Ran says. Okay, Chazaku Baruch.
Thank you.
I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I think we did it. I think we did it good. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so we're going to do Sunday morning, and then Sunday morning. So this Sunday we'll do the rest of the daf from the Mishnah to the end, and then the next Sunday, which is the first day of Chol Moed, and then we'll get back to Sunday, Monday. I'll put it on the chat, Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Chol Moed. Well, Shabbat Chol Moed, after Shabbat Chol Moed. Yeah. 3 days in a row, and then the Sunday morning.
Day 4.
Day 4. Yeah. Zaku Baruch. David. Huh? With Rabbi Akiva on that one? Yeah. Chazak.